Hey everyone, so I know I've already made a few buy now pay later videos, and I know that it could be getting annoying, it could be a little bit too much, but I'm just making another one because this is on Zip. And well, a lot of the buy now pay later stocks companies, it interests me. I think that it's a very innovating and new industry which is going to be really rocking the market, doing quite great once again. I've already made a few videos on that, that's all my speculations. But this is something that interests me, and I think a lot of you are also interested, and right now it's a hot topic, so I just wanted to quickly cover this as well. Now, like always, I'm not planning to make this a long video because I know a lot of you guys will all click off very quickly if it's too long, so let's get straight into it. So now, the Zip stock price went up quite significantly in just a day, and this is because Zip released their Q2 earnings report. So now this said a lot of things, they need to talk themselves up a bit. They were saying, yeah, this is one of the fastest growing US buy now pay later companies, etc, etc. They're global. There are a lot of great things to say. I've put it up on the screen now so you can read through it if you really want. Just pause. I don't know if it's going to be clear enough, but you can pretty much find it online anyway. But that isn't personally what I think has really done great for the company. I think that they have some very important metrics, especially for a company in the buy now pay later industry, which really got investors very hungry to invest. Now, in particular, the customer numbers increased 97% year over year. And I personally think that is a very important metric to look at for a buy now pay later company, because my personal belief is that there is a lot of consumer loyalty. Now, the Afterpay CEO, I believe it was, stated that Afterpay gets 90-something% of their revenue all from repeat users. Now, that's something that obviously is rather significant for a company's revenue, and it's very important to look at, and you could safely assume that if that's true, a lot of the buy now pay later companies would be in a very similar position. So I think that Zip being able to really increase their customer base is a very strong metric to look at when you're reviewing the stock and the company. Another very interesting and important thing is that all the metrics had record results. Now, whether this is a big surprise or not, personally I wasn't too phased to see this because I kind of expected that was going to happen. I'm sure a lot of us did because, well, it's been a great time recently for all the buy now pay later companies, and I'm sure a lot of them are in a very similar position, having great metrics. So there is absolutely no doubt that the stock price increased because of this great update that Zip gave out. I'd recommend, if you're interested and if you're maybe questioning investing in it, I would take a look at that announcement because, well, it's great to always know as many things about the company you wish to invest in. So now there isn't exactly a heap to talk about. I don't want to keep you guys here forever talking about absolutely nothing. So now I just wanted to quickly talk about my thoughts about Zip versus Afterpay and which one is right now the better investment to make. Because for a little while, some people are looking at Zip and saying it's a great investment, some people are saying it's a crap investment, and now we're kind of in a very strange position because we know that Zip has done great, we know that their company gave out some solid news, and it's raised a few questions about what's the better investment at the moment. So now there's a lot that's very important to view about both companies. However, we're going to start with just the numerical sort of numbers and growth that both these companies have seen. So I'm just going to quickly read it off my phone, but I'm going to put the chart over my face, that way you guys think I've memorized this all and I'm looking still at the camera talking. So first of all, we have Zip, which has performed gaining 81% in a year, which is nothing at all, which is bad. Obviously 81% in a year is pretty great. And I think a lot of companies would be pretty happy with 81% growth in the stock price, but then you compare it to Afterpay. And Afterpay has had a whopping 291% return over the last year. So there's no doubt about it, Afterpay has delivered the largest growth out of the two, just numerically. And then visually, if you take a look at it as well, I'm just going to compare them side by side, you can really see just how much Zip has kind of been lacking behind a little bit. But both of them have still had decent growth. You can just see that obviously Afterpay has had much more. Now this overall growth could be for a number of reasons, however a big factor is just that buy now pay later as a whole performed pretty well. So now, in terms of how much growth they both had over a year, like you can see numerically and just visually, Afterpay has led quite a bit. But here's something that I think is very important to actually look at, because From those like numbers there and what you've just seen, you'd obviously think, well, if you're not experienced, maybe some of you would think differently. Maybe some of you would think that if you're very experienced and knowledgeable in this sort of aspect of investing, but then you need to consider some other things, because just visually from that you would say, well, Afterpay is the stronger company. Obviously it's the better investment. But next we need to look at the fact that Zip is actually the second biggest, buy now, pay later company within Australia. Now, they have a market cap of around 4 billion, whereas Afterpay has a market cap of about 42 billion. So that is a very, very significant difference. So what does this mean for an investor? Well, personally, I think that both these companies are pretty solid. I think both of them have a lot of potential, of course, and I think both of them are going to be here to stay for a little bit. This also tells us that it's very unlikely Zip could ever, get ahead of Afterpay and reach a much larger market cap. But what it does mean is that maybe Zip has a better and quicker chance of doubling in stock price for an investor. Now, depending on what your investment style or your trading style is, it could be a better choice either way. Personally, I think short term, if you just want growth and you want to double your money quickly, get a decent return, I would personally say Zip is probably the more likely chance of bringing that sort of return. Now, even though we've seen much greater returns for Afterpay, I think that it is a lot more likely that a company with a 4 billion market cap can double than one with 42 billion. The more blue chip and sort of well-established a business becomes, it doesn't typically mean it has that much more room for growth. But obviously that's not always the case. We've seen with a lot of companies that they can just keep going for ages. But in the long term, if you wanted a strong company which you had good faith is going to be one of the monopolies within the industry for the future, I'd personally say maybe Afterpay is the better choice, as it is a very solid company and I think it is going to lead in this industry for a long, long time, which as an investor is quite important if you just want to have a very, very great company in your portfolio. Now, I just need to say this is all my speculation. I haven't purchased either of these companies. However, that's all just my opinion. It's not at all financial advice, and it's just to maybe, make you think, and so you can know what I'm thinking personally. I'm not at all licensed, so none of what I'm saying is at all advice. So there we go. I think I'm going to end it here. I don't want it to be too long. I don't know how long this video is yet. Maybe 7 minutes. I'm not too sure. I'll see when I'm finished editing. But thank you all for watching here until the end. I really appreciate it. It does help me with the YouTube algorithm, but it just helps me. Obviously, in terms of confidence, it's great to see that people watch it until the end. So if you have, I'd appreciate if you could hit the like button. And, well, if you'd like to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe as well. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you all.